District. I'm Tom LaBonge, the committee chair, and we start this meeting at this time with item number 1.
Item number 1 is a communication from the mayor relative to the reappointment of Timothy Martella to the El Pueblo Monument Authority for the term ending June 30th, 2013.
Okay. How are you, Timothy?
Good, how are you?
Okay. Been in the paper a little lately.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen that, Ms. Hahn? The El Pueblo's been in the paper about the rents and et cetera?
Yeah.
So give us your experience right now.
Well, basically, the editorial was accurate, and that the biggest problem right now is the leases. I think
Right.
getting them renewed or getting them executed at all.
Right.
And that's been an ongoing problem.
And you feel strongly that we could move in that direction if everybody has a vision for the city?
I think with help from downtown folks, we could make it happen.
Right, good.
We sort of get caught in the middle sometimes. This is my second term, so I've
Right.
seen this
Before.
where we
What's your favorite part of the monument?
Oh, I like the Pico House.
The Pico House, yeah. They had a nice exhibit by the French there this last year, I believe. It was very good. But that's more, Pico House being used a little bit more, too.
Well, there is a lease that someone has on that that's supposed to be developed shortly,
Right.
but we haven't seen that happen yet. I think it's in its final negotiations, but there's supposed to be
And who negotiates that?
that is city attorney's office.
And
So,
the general manager?
he's involved.
Right, but do you get
No.
briefed on it?
We don't get involved in lease.
Yeah, well, encourage them, I know you don't have to get involved with them, but encourage them to get some space in there, that whole north part of Pico House and other parts.
Right, that should
Mhm.
happen,
Good.
and it's due to happen, I believe.
Timothy, thank you. Ms. Hahn, any questions?
No.
I recommend approval. Thank you for your service to the city of Los Angeles. When is this scheduled in council?
Thank you very much.
Within the next 2 weeks.
Whatever is good, we can do it before the break.
I'll take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now, one other thing here, if you could, Timothy, just so you hear, there's no one else from El Pueblo, so if you want to sit down there. Have you traveled the world at all?
Yes, I have.
What do you see in the world that you don't see enough of in Los Angeles? And I'll give you the clue, Wilbur and Orville.
Wilbur and Orville, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, you got
They were big bicyclists, you know that, don't you? So there's an issue here, item number 2, is to try to create a bike facility at the El Pueblo Monument. And so we're going to hold this until the general manager shows up, because I think it'd be nice for people, maybe if they take the Metrolink into the center city, into Union Station, walk across the street, we got, everybody agrees behind you.
Oh, you mean like you just use the bike and you return it at the end?
No, you rent it.
I've seen that in Paris.
Right. Well, we'll hope to see it in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So that's
I've
good.
seen it in-
We'll hold it. We're going to hold item number 2. Thank you so much.
I found Denver.
Denver, yeah. Item number 3, we're going to hold for a moment. Item number 4, we're going to hold for a moment. Item number 5, we're going to hold. Item number 6. Who's here for item number 6? Madam Clerk, call 6.
And item number 6 is a motion, LaBonge Perry, relative to directing the Department of Cultural Affairs and the CAO to report on recommendations for continuing the installation of exhibitions on the City Hall Bridge.
Good afternoon, Saul Romo for the Department of Cultural Affairs. How are you?
Okay.
We had our bridge gallery expenditure was eliminated from this year's fiscal year's budget.
Who eliminated it?
Well, it was proposed recommendation to be eliminated by the mayor's office and our council.
Why didn't you bring it to our attention? I'm shocked, I'm disappointed, I'm hurt. That's an important gallery that people see art and plus it displays. You know, they want to close down the bridge gallery between City Hall and City Hall
I've
East.
been disappointed too.
We knew that this would be a consideration. Given the financial situations and the
Yeah, but you didn't come and talk to me, and I'm the chair of the committee. So I'm going to hold this, and you're going to come back to me and set up a meeting and come up with a plan to find a way to keep the gallery going.
We have done some outreach, and we are looking at some funding possibilities, and we'll come back with you with some recommendations. But quite honestly, things are looking very, very dire right now.
Well, I understand that, though, but how much does it cost to operate you?
It costs us about an average of $15,000 a year to operate it. And that
$15,000 a year,
That's right.
Really?
and you can't find $15,000.
$15,000 in a small operating budget such as mine goes a long way. We had hoped to have some funds reverted from the prior year that perhaps we could reappropriate. We barely made the mark. We had all of $2,000 that we were unspent in all of our expense accounts.
How many commitments do you have from July 2009 on?
We have about a dozen commitments. We have already outreached to some of the organizations that want to put on the productions, and I will say that many of them are willing to provide the
Self-funded.
cost. Yes.
So what does it cost per exhibit?
It's about $1,000, $1,000 to $1,200, and the cost covers the staffing. It's a part-time staffing for the installation and to bring down the installations, for any of the supplies for framing, for the materials, any of the didactics, which are the posters and the general information, the graphics that go up on the displays.
Well, absolutely hurt that I get a memo, not even a phone call. You know, don't you think you should get a phone call? Don't they call you in the port when they tell you a ship's coming in, give you a full report? You know, I know it's just a memo they're taking out the gallery. You know,
Like where was that movie where the guy broke up with her on a Post-it note?
right, it's terrible. So, the first meeting in September, you're going to have some exhibits the next few months, right? You've already committed to those?
We've already committed to those.
I want a full report, I want an office meeting, I want some ideas how we could find some money for you.
I agree. I was just working with you on a great
Right.
exhibit with Alzheimer's
with Dr.
patients. It
Bresky,
was
that's
a
right.
beautiful exhibit. But I agree, $1,000 per exhibit, I feel like we can find that money. 1% of the arts, I mean, I would think that some of the construction going on in downtown LA,
Right.
at least you could grab some of that
I
money.
understand, and while the numbers may seem
Insignificant.
insignificant, that
To you,
to us, they do really make a
Yeah,
difference.
but you got to call, you're the art department, you got to say, hey.
I am
You know,
surprised
we would have fought on the
that
floor of
happened.
council for $15,000,
Yeah.
you know, and
I think it
conceivably.
means a lot to people.
Yeah.
First of all, the people who get their art exhibited there, it's a big thrill.
Correct.
And it really is. And we've had some very significant things on that bridge. But I also think it's important for the visitors that come to City Hall. I mean, I think it's our tradition, it's our heritage. I'd like to see it continue.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We got to figure it out. Put a request. The CAO here, too? Representative for the CAO? Hi. They're short $15,000 for the Bridge Gallery.
Can you find
You have to come to council. You don't want to look at blank walls walking across the street. You want to see some art on that Bridge Gallery.
We'll work with the department to see if we can identify funding in the current constraints.
Sure. Oh, no, it's tough, but we could find it. We got to do it.
Yeah,
But I think-
I can't make any promises that we'll find it, but we will continue to work with the department to, find a funding source.
Exactly, whether it's a 1% for the art or some other source there, it just seems,
There are certain limitations with the percent for the arts or the arts development fee, anywhere.
What are the limitations for the 1% of the arts?
The
Good
arts,
question.
Thank you.
the arts development fee, which is the 1% collected from developers, has to be used to provide art at either the development site for the benefits of the employees. So it's really, there's a very, it's highly restrictive.
Or what?
Or the developer can choose to install art on their own, and in lieu of paying the fee.
Or they can they can pay money to cultural affairs.
Right, correct, and that's at that place. But typically, it's at the site of the development, and this has been an ongoing issue with cultural affairs because the requirements are highly restrictive, and we have worked with the city attorney, but because of the way the ordinance is written and when the ordinance was adopted, there's very limited. We have very limited mobility. It doesn't have a restriction. It isn't like Quimby fees where it's within a 2-mile radius. So those requirements really don't exist in that. And it's been a level of, I know it's frustrating to some of the council members, and it's certainly frustrating to the department. But as I said, there are just limitations. And we've had a number of discussions with Pete Echeverria on this, and with both Pete and with the department. But as I said, because of the when the ordinance was initially adopted, and because of the way it's worded, we really have to be very careful about how that money is expended.
It is,
Or like the new police department right across the street. Do we know where that 1% went?
well, that 1% is dedicated, that's a different source of funding. And that is reinvested back within the police department building itself. And we do have
What?
art projects that are specifically in that
No,
building.
They're in the building.
Correct. The arts development fee for private construction, they are very restricted monies. We doubt it's a very viable source of funding for a project such as the Bridge Gallery, because there's a geographic nexus to the source of the funds. That is the geographic location. We
There's
do
a
work.
lot of building going on in downtown.
There is, but the geographic nexus is very limited. It's within a matter of blocks. It's not within a matter of a half a mile or even
Right.
within the council district. And
Whatever the case may be, we're absolutely shocked you didn't call us.
Right.
We're disappointed you didn't reach out. We want to come up with a solution to find a way to
Right.
make it happen.
Thank you.
Because it's like taking it off the wall. And there should be more art in these buildings. The greatest art right here is our city seal.
I
So this is your initiative. You know that, you ever been in there where Kathy sits in that little clerk's room right there? You ever see the painting of the Hyperion Bridge?
Mhm.
That's a very important piece of art. That's what we have to do, and we shouldn't have it stored where people can't see it. So you got your feeling from the committee. We're both very shocked and disappointed. If you let the general manager know not to call us on that, because we certainly would have fought for it, and I think he would have got it easily.
Yeah.
So, Madam CEO, thank you for your continued work on all things. So we're going to continue this to the first meeting in September. Thank you so much. Okay. Next item is going to be the one that you're very interested in, number 7. Ms. Hahn, are you prepared for number 7?
Am I prepared for number 7?
Item number 7 is a report from the City Administrative Officer relative to the City of San Francisco's healthcare system.
What is this? Okay. Yes, I'm very interested in this.
Okay.
Wilson Poon with the CAO's office.
Build that microphone right up there.
There you go.
How long have you been in the CEO's office?
It's on?
Yeah, it's on.
Item 7 is pretty much a report from the Personnel Department. It was an item that was requested by the Budget and Finance Committee during this year's 09-010 budget deliberations.
Right.
It's information about the San Francisco healthcare system. Are there any particular specific questions about the report?
Well, Ms.
or-
Hahn, I want you to take it home on this, because I think you have the passion necessary.
Well, I'm very fascinated this is on the agenda today. I was kind of trying to figure out how it came about, because actually this morning in our Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee, we raised the living wage, the healthcare component for the airport workers, hoping to incentivize the employers to provide health insurance. So I was very interested in this document that the City of San Francisco has a community health care program. So I just really wanted to ask you, can you explain what the community health care program is, and how did that health care security ordinance come about? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, we have Personnel Department who wrote the report. It can probably
Okay.
answer those questions for you.
Because Mr. Labange, I'm kind of interested in the city of Los Angeles doing something where maybe we can co-op our health care benefits with maybe contractors out there who are doing business in the city. So it can kind of be a win-win situation where
Right.
they wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel and buy their own insurance with our volume of insurance that we're carrying. Maybe it's a great opportunity for some of these smaller contractors where we're sort of, pushing them to provide health care. Maybe this is a way where they could sort of buy into our already existing health care policy and just kind of, add on. So I don't even know if this is what this is, but I'm fascinated. What is this?
My name's Alex Vasquez. I'm with the Personnel Department. I know a little bit about this only in doing the research for this short memo, so I don't know a whole lot. But
Okay.
this is actually not part of their employee benefits program. It's something totally separate. And they passed an ordinance in San Francisco, and basically they require employers to that have a certain number of employees to to pay $1, and for example, $1.23 per employee, and they pay into this fund, and either employers can opt out of it if they already provide health insurance to their employees. If they don't, then they pay this into a fund, and then employees can have access to health care. And they have it's done through, they have another department that actually provides the health care for those employees. But that's as much as I know, and this is basically run out of their OLSE office that does all the contract
So
enforcement.
basically, it's very similar to our living wage. Our living wage basically has a wage component and a health care component. Ours was $1.25 until today, where we voted to increase that by $3 at the airport, so it'll be $4.25. But basically, the employer could either pay the higher health care piece, so $1.25, or provide health insurance. But the way we did it was the employees got to keep the $1.25 with the thinking that maybe they could purchase health care with that, but it's not proved to be the case. $1.25 per hour has not been enough money for employees to actually purchase health care. So they actually put that into a fund, is that what you're saying?
Yes, they put it into a fund.
And then the employer, instead of paying that $1.25 back to the employee, they put it into a fund.
Right. They put it into a fund that the city administers, and then employees are able to access health
care. So the city took that money and purchased health care, sort of group health insurance.
In that part, I don't know
Okay.
specifically how they did
All right.
that, how they set that up.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
I think it would be something worth studying on
I
this,
do.
and also even having staff maybe go up to San Francisco or contact someone in San Francisco a little deeper. I know one of the challenges, I know this is on the hospital issue, even in some parts of the city, there's a lack of emergency facilities. You're too young to remember, Ms. Hahn, but we used to have receiving hospitals in Los Angeles. Did you ever go to receiving hospital? Yeah. So there's a potential for some concept there. So why don't I hold this till September, and see your staff person's there, do some research.
Right.
Contact San Francisco, see
Right.
what would be working on, and see if there's a nexus. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. And then maybe, and I think we're going to, I know our Jerry Miller is also going to do some initial investigation on this idea of providing the city being kind of, a healthcare provider to smaller contractors in the city. So maybe we discuss that in this committee as we get more information.
Right. Very good.
Thank
I think
you.
that's real good.
Just after
Okay.
all, arts, parks, and health.
Very good. All the way. We'll continue September. Item 8.
Yes.
And we have one public card, Mr. McDowd.
And item number 8 is a report from the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families relative to a study on child safety in Los Angeles.
We have the gentleman, you want to make your comment?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is a big one, probably the biggest thing on the agenda. So I'm just asking the council members to take a greater interest in this one than all the other ones, because it's child safety, and I'm big on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam CAO.
Sorry. Good afternoon, council members, Labange and Han. I'm Sally Anderson. I'm representing, I'm staff with the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families, now with the Human Services Department.
Excuse me for that improper introduction. Your children, youth, and family.
Yes.
Good.
And I'm here to present the report, the child safety report that was submitted to the Arts, Parks, Health, and Aging Committee sometime in May. It was a report that was prepared by Children, Youth, and the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families in response to a motion by council members Alarcon and Wendigo back in 2007. In essence, our commission, our department was instructed to look at areas of child safety, including but not limited to protection from sexual predators, safe school routes, gang violence, school bullying, and well-being at home. In summary, there were 3 areas that were looked at, which was the home, the school, and the community environment or neighborhood environment that we did a study. It wasn't necessarily a study, but more a report. because the commission at the time, and even at the present time, did not have the capacity to actually engage into a full study. So it ended up most a report and a literature review.
Were you able to share this with Mr. Alacon, the maker of the motion?
Sorry, sir?
Were you able to share this with Mr. Alacon?
That I'm not aware of because I wasn't the one who prepared the report.
Okay, good. Ms. Hunt, this is a very good report, a detailed report. I think it should be studied as well. But I would ask you to contact Mr. Alacon's office. Is one of his deputies here today to make sure he gets a copy of the report, and then we're going to move it forward to council, which I feel there will be some discussion, whatever the time frame is.
Yes, sir.
You could stop by his office on the way down
Yes, sir.
if you want, but your office is upstairs, isn't it?
Yes, we're on the 22nd floor.
Yeah, but I think he's on the 4th floor if you wanted to stop by. Well, thank you so much. Ms. Hahn, any questions?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. That's item number 8. Now let's flip it back. The general manager's not here from El Pueblo, right? We should call them to make sure they should be here. And then we're going to go here to item number 4.
Item number 4 is a motion, Parks Labange, relative to directing the city attorney with assistance from other departments to report on laws regarding limiting the city's liability and sports injuries that occur on city-owned facilities.
Hi, Mark Brown, city attorney.
How are you? Yes, that's me. Just in response to the motion, we've done some, just a little preliminary research. We have actually a summer intern from UCLA Law School on our staff, Stephen Nagarita, and we don't have anything of substance to present to the committee today, but we'd be happy to report back, and we'd be asking for a little bit of time to get together with the other entities that are in the motion and bring you back a report in maybe 45 days.
Anybody here from Mr. Parks' office? Okay, would you like to speak to this issue? I know Mr. Parks is very interested. This is interesting about our sports injuries that happen. Like, what happens when somebody's playing baseball? Let's say it's Cheviot, some lawyers from Century City. It's a Thursday night. The guy slides into second,
They're out of shape.
busts his ankle.
Yeah.
Do you get notified that someone got hurt on the property?
No, unless we receive a claim, often we don't. Sometimes if it happens during a staff time at the parks, then a report would be filled out, a confidential report, and we'd receive a report of that.
Well, how many in your experience, city attorney, many years with Recreation and Parks oversight, how many have you received in any one year, could you guess?
Well, I don't receive very many, but I suspect there's a lot more than the ones that I receive.
Anybody from Rec and Parks got an idea about that? Mr. Reagan is here. I see he's getting up at this time. Coming to the table. Hey, Kevin.
Good afternoon, council members. Kevin Regan, Assistant General Manager, Recreation and Parks. So, Councilman, your question was how many injuries in a year?
In a month, how many reports will trickle across your desk, or Mr. Muckery, or Ms. Adams, or anybody that says that there were injuries at a park?
I couldn't really give you numbers because I really would want to give you a good number if I was going to throw one out, and we actually could get a number. We have all the reports. What I'd like to do is maybe just tell you real quickly what happens. So let's say someone's out in a park, they're involved in an activity, and they do get injured. That injury, as long as it's reported, is going to be reported on a number of different ways. Number one, could be reported directly to the staff at the park, and if that happens, the staff will fill out 2 reports. One is called a Special Occurrence and Loss Report. That's an internal Recreation and Parks form that documents that occurrence. And secondly, they'll fill out, if there was an injury, they'll fill out a non-employee accident or injury report. That's a city general form that's filled out. Both of those are official records. Those records are then filed in the Department of Recreation and Parks. They're also forwarded to our risk manager, and if needed, they can be provided to the city attorney if there's ever a claim filed. Also, sometimes in a reference to these injuries, either the LA Fire Department, Office of Public Safety, LAPD, or the Park Rangers will be called. In the event that they're called in response to the injury, then there also will be either a police report or...
Does that come to someone central that sees that, hey, we're having a lot of...
No. What happens is those reports are all decentralized in those departments. So like if the police responded, they take a police report. If OPS responded, they take their report. LAFD, the same thing. However, what happens is if a claim does come to the city, it's filed with the city clerk, and eventually makes its way through city attorney, through the claims investigation division, forwarded to Department of Recreation and Parks, and then what we actually do, and what I do, one of the things that I actually do is compile all those documents from the various departments, put them together in a package with a little synopsis of what happened to the best of our knowledge, and we produce all those documents back to the city attorney. So, just real quickly, also, whenever individuals from the public sign up for recreational activities at the park, they're given a number of forms to fill out. One is just kind of a release of general liability where we notify the individuals that sports activities can be dangerous. We also talk a little bit about proper conduct during sporting activities. And one of the main ways, Councilman, that we really in Department of Recreation and Parks work hard to avoid these types of injuries is, number one, through our park maintenance program, which is a continuous inspection of the grounds to make sure that they're safe. And number two, always having staff at the centers. So, as we've been talking lately about the budget very often, this is one of the big concerns, is that Recreation and Parks is committed to having staff at the parks when people are there, engaged in these sporting activities, so that we can make sure that things are safe, that children are being taken care of safely. We can register and monitor our volunteers that are out there coaching and dealing with kids and whatnot to make sure that they're not engaging in unsafe activities. We train coaches. We talk about things that are approved activities and not approved activities, and we have recreation professionals on staff. That's really how we deal with this in general.
Ms. Hahn, you think there should be a little more knowledge, like a defensive coordinator in football? He knows all the plays, right? That's his idea, to know everything that goes on.
Oh, you did.
That's right. So I'm just thinking, if everybody's separate, is there enough tracking to see, is there a reason why not one person knows of all these injuries? And I think this does take some study, but I think that's what Mr. Parks' interest. Well, we try to do that.
I mean, I didn't mean to say, if I said we didn't know, I misspoke. What I said was I don't know off the top of my head how many injuries occur in a month or a year. However, we do have Zernan Abad, our risk manager, might want to speak.
All right, that's the man.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. And to share a little bit more with the numbers, on average, I'd say there's about 10 to 15 incident reports, third party, that come to my desk involving some type of injury. When it comes to...
Over a 30-day period?
I'm sorry, over a 30-day period, roughly. And when it comes to injuries requiring more than a first aid response, somebody with a broken arm or things of that nature, those are even fewer than that. We're talking maybe 2, maybe 3. And if the source, based on the incident reports, are based on defective conditions, poor maintenance, or things of that nature, a big divot in the field per se, or any hazards that require immediate action, we do contact the facility director, see what they can do, tape off the area until a work order has been put through. So we do act immediately when things like that occur. And with all of those incident reports, risk management with the department, we also produce a monthly report that goes to the city attorney's office that identify all of these potential incidents that may result in claims with some substance to them. So that's what we do at Rec and Parks, in addition to what Kevin had mentioned.
And Mr. Parks' interest is both the artificial, was the artificial turf involved in this thought at all, or just all sports play area?
Poor Joshi with Councilmember Parks' office. He would be interested in learning about both.
Okay.
And also, if these departments want to report back, our office doesn't object to that.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we got our work cut out, 45 days, maybe the second meeting in September, because some people take cycles. So first meeting in September is those other issues, but the second meeting in September would be this issue, and try to find that information, work with Councilman Parks' office. And also, I think there's some on-again, off-again discussion on the artificial turf. which is very good because we don't use water on it. Very good because there's more speed, but at the same time, some people think there's a little more injury.
Right. One aspect of the motion, just before we close the conversation, was that another state, the state of Washington, has been looking into how to treat situations where an individual might sustain a concussion while playing sports on public property. And in Seattle, I believe, or in Washington, excuse me, what they've done in those cases is they've required the individual to get a doctor's note. They've required that individual to cease participation in the activity. So to the extent that we're running supervised activities, or to the extent that we can, when we permit out the fields, we can give instruction, that's also something we'll be looking at and reporting back on.
We have one public comment card. Thank you, staff. Matt Dowd. Mr. Dowd, I'd like the card to be fully filled out at your convenience. It's required by me as the chair, so, you know. No, it's required by me as the chair, so I'm just asking you to put it out.
Thank you. No time for that, the way the city's at right now. Look, there's a couple of comments need to be made in this regard, so I'm going to make them. City of Los Angeles is in a catch-22 right now with a budget crunch. And see, these parks are crucial in your whole gang strategy because it's these activities in these parks that keep kids off the streets. But what's happening right now, there's a water shortage, there's a money shortage, all the parks are drying up. They're not getting watered. Venice Beach is the same. They're dried out, so they're getting hard. It's going to be a lot more of these injuries are going to occur. People are going to fall over, break arms, break legs, playing sports. So the city needs to really wind down either these operations, these activities, because, see, Boone Parks is bringing this out because this is a real money issue. It's your liability when you get sued by people who are getting injured. So you got to water the parks. So you need to get the DWP to give you the water to water the parks and make them safe.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to continue this to the second meeting. And we have the general manager from El Pueblo here.
He is still in attendance at another committee meeting.
Here on the floor?
Yes.
What other committee is it?
He's in the audits committee.
Audits committee. I better see the audits people first. Okay, now we have two items. They're both on, just one on golf. Let's take item number 5 first.
Okay, item number 5 is a motion, Rosendahl Labange, relative to requesting the city attorney to prepare amendments to the administration of the Venice Beach Boardwalk Public Expression Permit Program.
Could I ask Marie Pink of the Boardwalk, Stephen Elliott, Teresa, please forgive me. Teresa, how do you pronounce your last name? Ida? Lynn, please. Dr. Marie, Alexander, and Lisa Green. 1 minute public comment here.
Is this Marie first?
Yes.
Hi.
Do whatever you do.
I have a big mouth that I get nervous here, so I'm ready. Go.
Good.
Thanks. Hi.
I just want to let you know, if we make a comment, we're going to make a comment 1 minute. And because there's so much interest in this here, I'll even give you another minute on the backside of the staff when the staff makes their point, if you need it.
I'd like to have another minute afterwards.
Yeah, good.
Okay, this is the bottom line. They have the lottery, and they stopped the lottery in the winter. We had a couple stabbings, okay? Then we started the lottery May 19th. Now, in the P-Zone lottery, in the last 2 weeks, Robert wasn't there 2 weeks ago. They actually turned the table over in violence because they didn't want the lottery, and then somebody hit somebody. So what I'm trying to get to is that they also put in a couple black spots. You know, our free zones, first come, first serve. On the blocks that I go, which is Sidewalk Cafe, Muscle Beach, and Windward, they only put one spot. What I'm proposing is if you would put 2 spots on each block, then the people that don't want to go to the lottery can just come and do the first serve, first come. But they have 2 spots like way down, and I showed Bill Rosenthal, Norm, and Archula, and they agreed, and Robert, that I'm right, but, you know, I can't get you guys to remove a bench that's illegal, so I don't know if you're going to hear this, but... So the point is that would like to, I don't agree with the lottery because I haven't gotten a spot in 3 weeks, and I just don't agree with the lottery.
You're Marie?
Marie Fink.
All right, thank you, Marie. Sir, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Stephen Elliott.
Hi, Steve.
It's kind of funny that I just left the VA. I had to cut my class on teaching art short to come over here, and this you guys were talking about not being able to find art. So,
Right.
and I have disabled artists over there producing art. So,
Cool.
anyway, I'm here because there's you guys have ordinances there for artists to produce art, to sell art. However, you have many people there selling stuff that's produced in Mexico and China that are selling stuff there in bulk, not produced by the people that are selling it. But the P zones is for artists to sell art produced by that artist. And the ordinance is not being, the code is not being enforced by anybody. Police go by there and nothing's being done. The artists aren't getting the spaces because the hordes are there getting the spaces to treat it like Kmart.
You'd rather see the artists who produce local art have a spot as opposed to stuff shipped in from around the world.
It's like the swap meets. sir.
Got it. Thank you very much.
My name is Therese Dietland. I'm familiar with the boardwalk 8.5 years, and perfect to follow this man because in August of last year, a couple of us did a survey of what was happening, and what we discovered is that in the I zone, about 20% was definitely about 25% was definitely commercial. In the P zone, about 30% was definitely commercial. That didn't include the jewelry, which one could wonder if it's commercial or not because it looks like it's mass-produced with the sole intent of selling, and that raises the percentages to 50 to 60% commercial in both the I and the P zones. There is selling in both zones. Let's see what else. There were some other things. Also, we have personal experience of corruption down there, people swapping spaces and doing all kinds of things that are against the rules. The black spaces, it's very generous of Marie Fink to mention them, but I have to tell you there hasn't been a First Amendment advocate who's ever gotten one of those spaces. And I may want to say something later.
You got it, Teresa. Thank you. Next.
My name is Dr. Maria Alexander, and I'm very happy to be living in Los Angeles where we have a chance to tell you what we're concerned about. Mainly, I even wrote it down, so I'm going to read it a little bit. That the rules and regulations and guidelines are not regulated, enforced, maintained, monitored, or anything else. They are written sometimes, they are changed often, and what happens is Los Angeles has become a flea market for junk. We're losing our tourists, we're losing people who want to believe that Los Angeles is a nice, pretty place. It ain't down in Venice Beach anymore. We would very much like for people to actually inspect and investigate and then do something to enforce the rules that we claim we have, including all the commercial vending, which is junk bought down in Los Angeles Street, sent down to Venice, and sold cheaply because there's no rent to pay. Thank you. If I could say more, I'd love to.
Thank you very much. Yes, introduce yourself.
We've got 11 more seconds.
I'm sorry?
My name is Eden Andes, and one of the things that has happened recently, I'm anti the ordinance, totally. One of the things that has happened recently, as perhaps he knows since he said he was in Seattle, is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has ended up upholding quite a few things in the case of Mike Berger. And one of those things is that they cannot charge money to end up letting them be there. They cannot end up putting them in spaces, which they have 100 spaces down at the boardwalk. They cannot tell them that they cannot accept a gratuity or request one. And there was something else that I forgot what it was. And I'm sure that, Mark Kachinik or whatever could end up looking into it. And I personally hope that the whole idea of having a lottery goes down the tubes, because it is not working. They're selling spaces and everything else. So.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lisa Green. I'm an artist out on the boardwalk and also a free speech advocate, along with the other people here. I actually have a permit. I was attending the lottery for about 9 months. The last 4 or 5 months, I have not been participating in the lottery, though I do actually go just to know what's going on, to hear what's happening. But I stopped going because it is not the ordinance is not working. It's not creating an equal chance for people. There's commercial vendors everywhere. They do not have an I'm in the I zone, an inextricably entwined message. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. People are selling spaces. People are swapping spaces. They're creating networks, if you will, so they can work together and move around. 5 or 6 people from one family there to increase their odds. So the ordinance is not working for people like myself who are trying to do free speech out on the boardwalk and get messages out to people. So I actually don't go and participate and stick my card in, and I actually go and write down the names of the people and spaces I'd like to assume, see if they show up, and if they don't, I come out, and if they do, then I have to find another spot. So.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Appreciate those comments. Matt Dowd of Venice Beach.
Okay, it's all bad down there. They hand out a permit to anybody, okay? There's no screening by the attorneys to what these people do. Once someone gets a permit in their hand, it's permission from the city of Los Angeles to occupy a space and sell whatever they want. And that's why everyone's upset, because people think they've got their permit, they can go and sell whatever they want because they're permitted. Whereas in real America, the permit comes from the federal government by Ninth Circuit law. And people who know that are going to go down there early and they're going to get their spot. They're going to hold on to it. So that's the problem. You've got 500 permits out there that the city, that your attorneys have handed out for 200 spaces. So you're basically creating a denial system with your own permit. And then as far as the music thing after sunset, sunset is when that place is pumping. That's a tourist attraction. It's your biggest breadwinner here, and it needs to be 1 hour after sunset. And in actual fact, the place regulates itself because everybody leaves after sunset. It gets cold and dark, and the public leaves anyway. And I'd like to address the other one,
You could address it later on. You could address it on. Your time's up.
Hey, can you ask these guys one question for me? Do they know what time musical instruments were banned today, since we haven't passed the sunset?
You can ask the question afterwards, after they do their report. Thank you very much.
The police, the captain, nobody knows.
All right, anyone from the department? I see Mr. Rosendal's deputies here as well, and the city attorney, I believe, is involved. Have any of you been to Venice Beach in the last month?
I was there yesterday.
Did you see the condition of the American flag? I hope they changed it. I was out there about 3 weeks ago. I left my card, Mr. Reagan, to your staff person there, and I said, call me, but they never did. I hope they changed the flag. It was like John Paul Jones had ripped through it. Did you see? Yeah. I mean, it was half the American flag.
We'll get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's hear it.
Norman Cullen for Rosendahl.
Councilman Rosendahl.
For Councilman Rosendahl, for Councilman Bill Rosendahl, the 11th District. Thank you. And this 4215, there was a 2004 version and a 2006 version, and they're not in effect today because of constitutional questions. So this is the 2008 version, which was created under basically court supervision by Judge Dean Pragerson in the federal court.
Former park commissioner.
Indeed. Took great responsibility for redrafting this because he pointed that out. Invited many of the people in this room today into his chambers to get their input. So this ordinance is not perfect, but it has been held to be constitutional. And this is what we're trying to work for. So there are some administrative problems that have arisen, and this is an effort to address some of those problems. And with that, I defer to our distinguished colleagues here.
I would kind of like to know overall what makes this different.
Let's hear it. Yeah, let's hear it. Give me a description of what is this 2008 version.
Okay.
2008, 2009.
Right. The 2008 version basically recognized that the standard of the Ninth Circuit for being allowed to exercise your right to free speech and also sell something in connection with that is that the item needs to be inextricably intertwined with the speaker's message. So the 04 version of the ordinance said that, but it wasn't found to be constitutionally specific enough. The 06 version went a little bit away from that. Now we've gotten back to what the Ninth Circuit standard is, and we're trying also to blend that in with a system that has designated spaces on the west side of the boardwalk for performance and for speech, and for selling items that are inextricably intertwined with that speech, but in a way that allocates those spaces fairly as much as possible, and does it in a way that has two zones, a P zone and an I zone. The P zones are the ones that are nearest the east side private properties where there are commercial businesses.
Right.
And the idea was to, and let me just say that the whole point of this ordinance is that it's supposed to be an anti-commercial vending ordinance. That's the main thrust of it. So the idea is that in the P zone, which is near these east side commercial businesses, that just the pure speech activities, the core speech activities like performing and like speaking out against things that somebody feels wrong with the system or right with the system right now, but just having the right to engage in general First Amendment protected
Right.
speech. And then the I zones, which are a little bit further away from this area, but also there's 100 designated spaces in the I zones that exist for the purpose of allowing people who have a message that they want to communicate, but it also involves sitting at the table and displaying a product that's associated with their message that they have a right to sell or accept donations for. And that's done a little bit further away from the businesses on the east side, and that's done in a zone called the I zone. So the main change in the 08 ordinance was to create these different zones. Before that, we did have the designated spaces. We did have the lottery to assist in assigning the spaces. And the concept of that is we want to maximize the opportunities for people.
So is the lottery still a part of this one?
So the lottery has been a part of all 04, 06, and 08, but yes, is a part of the 08 ordinance, and is the method.
What if you never, I'm sorry, Mr. City Attorney, I tried only when it reaches a certain point to be part of the California lottery, and I never win. What if you never win the Venice lottery? Are you out of luck?
Well, you have the same opportunity. The lottery, the
You can
staff
be
is
like
here.
Odds are probably a little better.
They're a lot better.
California
A lot better. The staff is here, and they can speak to it. This gentleman.
You know about the flag I was talking about? Did you change it?
That flag was replaced Monday.
Okay.
This is Robert Haskin. He's the director of the...
I see the commander of West L.A., is that right, or Pacific Division? Pacific area, sorry. You want to contribute, you can come up any time you want, Captain Sergeant, whatever. Okay, let's hear it for the Record Parks man.
If I could just say one thing.
Yeah.
That
Right.
all the individuals in the room that you've just recognized are part of an ongoing task force. We meet on a regular basis with the
Right.
council office to
Right.
discuss all of these issues. And
How are we addressing this issue that, people are selling their spaces, the lottery's not really working, it's not really fair, because, it's not a good system. How is this ongoing task force able to have their concerns heard and addressed? Like the selling of the spaces, the multiple family members that are, taking advantage of the system, of the ability that LAPD doesn't really have, or Rec and Parks doesn't have the authority to actually rotate people, and how are you answering their concerns? I don't know who wants to answer that.
I think we all do,
Okay.
but I don't want to take
Okay.
away from
Let's hear the person on the
Robert
street.
conducts the lottery twice
Robert.
a week, so I think
Okay.
that's a good place to start.
Ciao.
Good afternoon, council members. Yes, the lottery is held every Tuesday morning. We first have a weekend lottery that's for Saturday and Sunday, and we have a separate lottery that's for Monday through Friday, and people can get in both lotteries. They're held one right after the other.
How do you address these concerns that it's not working, that, people get their space and they sell it, multiple family members participate in the lottery, just increase their odds, but that's really only one business, or...
Well, we actually, like Mr. Brown had said, we're actually in constant meetings trying to find solutions to those problems.
The ordinance itself.
I know, I just mentioned the same one like 3 times, and I haven't
Right,
heard,
the
and that's what they came up and said to us. So they must have been expressing that for a while now,
They have.
How are you addressing that?
Yeah, the ordinance itself, it makes it unlawful for an individual to be in more than one space, or a business or a group to take more than one space. I think
the idea was not taking more, the way I understood it was you get 5 of your family members to enter the lottery, so you've increased your chances for one space.
Well, but
not that they want to have 5 spaces, but they...
I think our thought has been that any permit...
Well, if you brought like all of your cousins one day and...
I think our thought has been, and we have a difficult time, I think, constitutionally having any other thought, but our thought has been that every individual who wishes to exercise their right to speak has an opportunity to get a permit and participate in the lottery. So it's very difficult for us to say that even if 2 people who are related to each other want to speak, that they can't have an opportunity to participate in the lottery. But we do have laws and we do have rules in our program rules designed to ensure that that one group or one individual doesn't monopolize multiple spaces. So we do have that, and in some of the very things that are in this ordinance, I think, are designed to help us a little bit.
So you can't really address the idea that 10 family members are hoping for one space.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If 10 family members are all have permits and they all wish to enter the lottery. They're entitled to, and
so they have to have a permit before they enter the lottery.
Yes, but the permit just allows somebody to get a designated space. There are multiple opportunities for free expression on the boardwalk. Getting an assigned space is one of those possible ways.
How are you addressing this thing where they're claiming that people are selling their spaces?
I think Mr. Brown would agree that if these people are acting in concert, that the ordinance outlaws them having more than one space for one permit. And moreover, they can't sell the space to someone else in their family, for example. They couldn't do that. That's against the ordinance. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Has anybody been challenged on that? Cited on it?
I think that's a question of enforcement, and I think there is some enforcement going on, and there's additional activity.
So 5, 10 people have done that? Because I know you've had a problem in other parts of the park system where they get a permit to play on a field, and they lease it out, and they sublease it to somebody else for more money. You get the drift?
Yes.
Right, okay.
And that's strictly against our rules, and
we look for that.
Don't allow that.
Aggressively. Well, let me ask the deputy on the ground for Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, sir.
You've worked closely with this.
Yes, sir.
You feel this is going to work in a better way?
These changes are really pretty minor tweaks, but will, in each case, solve a administrative problem. Councilwoman Hahn pointed out the rotation problem.
Yeah.
That is being addressed. And they're of a similar, scope in terms of they're each narrowly tolerated. The lottery, Marie, when she testified, mentioned I don't know what her attitude is about the lottery, but when there was no lottery during the winter for the P-zone, there was some issues, criminal cases and that's why we want to make it all year round again, in part to address some of the lawless behavior that occurred.
Let me give the captain of police.
Councilman Bonge and Councilman Hahn, there are a number of issues that each board member or each member here has addressed regarding the Venice Beach vending ordinance and the need for some modifications to it. As we went into this early last year and the implementation mid last year, we recognized that there was a potential for some modifications as we got into it. We've heard stories that individuals may be selling spaces or working to get spaces and then give them to other people, bring others in. And we've worked on some strategies to try and enforce that, to try and take action to prevent that from happening, so that the spaces are open to all the folks that might want to partake in that lottery situation. These minor modifications that Mr. Culla has addressed we feel will help tighten this up and make it more enforceable and fair to all the people that want to come and vend or exercise their free speech, or the community members that are coming there to enjoy the beach without having to be molested and accosted, I guess it is a better word, by some of the folks that do carry on down there.
Hard sales.
Pardon?
Hard sales.
Yes.
All right. Good, okay. Mr. Reagan, you're an experienced veteran of park system.
Well, I would just like to reiterate everything that's already been said. I think that with this new version of the ordinance, things have been going quite a bit better on the boardwalk. I think particularly for our recreation and park staff who are monitoring the permits.
But not the flag, but you got it fixed.
Well, Robert Haskins is good at getting that kind of stuff done, so he said he already got that done. But what I did want to tell you is that one piece of good news. Robert and his crew of about 6 monitors really are the folks that walk up and down the boardwalk on a daily basis. They talk with the permit holders, with the free expressionists, and they really try to give out a lot of information. It's not always the first thing to just hand out some type of a citation, or really Recreation and Parks only does administrative citations. LAPD would be involved in infractions. But what I wanted to tell you is that in the course of the last year or so, when Robert's been handing out these administrative citations, we really haven't had a lot of repeats, meaning that he'll give out an administrative citation, and typically the person that receives it is understanding of what they had done wrong and then corrects the behavior. So we haven't had to take any administrative action to revoke permits.
What were some of those things that they were given for?
Well, we could ask Robert if you want. Do you want to characterize some of the types of violations you've seen?
The violations mostly were the items that they were selling on the boardwalk weren't intertwined with speech.
Very good.
And it's a really hard, it's a tough call. I mean, it's not as easy as it may seem, and it really takes a lot of training. I'd like to also say that behind the scenes, there's been a tremendous amount of work going on with LAPD, city attorney, recreation and park staff, council office representatives on...
Deputy city engineer, or deputy city attorney who does neighborhood prosecutor.
Right. And
mother of 3.
Guido O'Neill.
Yeah, right.
Really just getting everybody up to speed on
committed
how
to the job.
operate there.
They're terrific.
All right, so now this is in place now? Legally, or are we changing it?
This is in place now. We're making some minor modifications that are going to help the process.
So in the minor modifications, if we get to council before the end of summer recess, we still have to have it published. It would not be able to probably be implemented probably till September 15th or so, no, in the calendar. What do you think?
Later. Probably later by the time the ordinance is effective.
So whatever it is, we should notice the people that on November 1st, 2009, there's new rules that are in play based on everything we think is legal, use of
Can I ask
cooperation.
about the musical instruments?
Yes.
I'll just ask the question, when are they supposed to be banned currently?
Well, right now, it's not as clear. It depends what you're doing. So it depends whether it involves amplified sound or whether you're within a certain distance from residences. What we're saying is now we need something that prevents the playing of musical instruments after sunset, because without it, they're in proximity to residential neighborhoods, and there have been a lot of complaints. So that's why we're trying to still allow people to have a good time down there. But when it starts to become nightfall and people need some peace and quiet, that we're able to provide that. So
Okay.
that's the concept.
If I may say, Councilmember, that, this is an ongoing process. We have challenges. We could do better in terms of creating a better environment for our artists and performers and for everybody in that environment. But this is an incremental step.
Does anybody put it like you go, I don't do it anymore, but used to go to a nightclub and they put a wristband on? Like if it's Tuesday, you get a wristband? Does anybody do that at all?
For their fees, you mean?
Does that make, yeah, I'm just saying.
That's what the permit does serve that purpose, but
I mean, if you're selling it, you put a wristband on, I mean,
Well,
that's...
the permit holders are issued a permit, which they're actually required to display. So.
But what if I'm
But
selling
yeah,
it
you're
to my
right.
cousin?
Good point.
My good point or their good point?
No, you make a
Right.
very good point.
So, okay, so there's an idea,
You can-
maybe work through the committee to see if it makes sense to have a wristband like a different color, because if you want to get consistency, I think the thing that people may not always admire, but they appreciate is consistency in the administration of government in the sense of how it is done, so it doesn't look like it's getting flipped around. In the interest of free speech, many people did speak here. I'm going to ask staff we're going to recommend approval as we go forward. But if anyone, if I just call your name, if you want to make a 1-minute comment again on any thoughts, Ellen Andrews,
I like that idea.
Lisa Green, yeah, I like that idea too. Green's a good color. Matt Dow, Dr. Marie Alexander.
Michael Jackson.
Okay, please, if you want to.
Boardwalk.
You're coming. I just still got to call you.
You're a good man.
Oh no.
Charlie Brown.
Okay, let's talk to Lisa because
Yes, yes.
I like your T-shirt, Lisa.
Thank you very much. I actually am not in favor of the lottery year-round personally, because I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps us. I would like to ask, though, any further changes if there's possibly the consideration that we create a task force of participants.
I like that. I was thinking like a little working group within there, that there was like 5 to 7 members of the artisans and others who would work with the department staff and walk your walk, Robert. Understand your balance, and you try to understand them. I would recommend that.
So seconded.
All right, so we're going to recommend that. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Green, let's go right here. State your name for the record.
Eden Andes.
Hi, Eden.
They just ended up winning on First Amendment rights in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Mike Berger, and he won on the fact that you cannot end up making somebody be in a space. He won on the fact that you cannot end up making somebody wear a badge, tag, etc. He won on the fact that you cannot end up making it so that someone cannot ask for a gratuity. And like I said, I forget what the other things were. But, I would say that before you end up doing this, I'm obviously totally against the lottery, period. I find it a stupid thing. The police did not end up enforcing the rules that were in effect, the regular rules of a park, that were in effect at the time, and they don't do this either. So I would suggest that you end up finding one of your lawyers that can actually look something up
Thank you. Marie Pink.
Okay, I was one of the people that was with the judge. First of all, I'm very impressed that you guys, most people don't pay attention to us. I'm very impressed by the two of you, that you're really hearing us. Whether it goes anywhere or not, I'm extremely impressed.
No, I think one thing that goes over what Ms. Green said, I think it needs to be a little walking group, but thank you for the comment.
Also, we used to have a meeting called the Ad Hoc, which they canceled because of this new ordinance where we went to a room, we could go in and we would speak every month. And they just stopped our meetings. We'd like to have them back,
Yeah,
please.
I think that's good. I think that's valuable.
Also, my mother passed away on the boardwalk a few months ago, and I have funeral expenses, even though I don't use the money for myself. I have not gotten a spot in 3 weeks because the homeless, everybody's there selling it, and I have not gotten a spot in 3 weeks. That's why I'm here today. And it feels unfair. I don't have a spot for the weekend at all. And just very quickly on the black spot, I respect the police officers very much, but with the black spot, we need two, but there is an issue they pointed out that's true, just real quick, that one person takes a big wooden thing in the middle of the night, and they take out knives and guns, and they threaten us, they threaten me, and they put a big wooden thing there after work, and after they do their thing at 6 or 7 when it gets dark, and then they won't let, like I came early in the morning, they threatened me I couldn't use it because their wooden thing was there. They're not supposed to have nothing on this thing.
It should be cleared up. Thank you very much.
We're sorry for your loss of your mother.
Yeah. God bless your mom. How old was she?
95.
Well, God, let's all live to be your mother's age.
She asked to die on the boardwalk, and she did.
God bless her. All right, good. Good job.
Hi, I'm Dr. I can't even talk, Maria Alexander, and I find that we're talking about one issue mainly, which is only a side issue about how many spaces are taken by family or friends and stolen and all of that. The issue for me is not how many spaces are taken. There's so many issues that are not enforced. The bicycles, the skateboards that are dangerous to the public that's walking, nobody enforces it, nobody looks at it, nobody cares. The signs are up, it doesn't mean anything. There are all sorts of other things that are not enforced by the rules. The commercial vending is the garbage flea market stuff that is not Venice, not the art, not the beauty of what Venice can be. That, if it's in the ordinance, has been loopholed somehow. All the gentlemen who are telling you how hard they're working and what they're doing didn't sound like they're doing anything specific, and they haven't been down there lately because I'm there every single Sunday, looking, watching, photographs. We have photographs to prove everything that we're saying. And I would like to send you a copy of my letter that I wrote to Mr. Pena, who was interested and invited us to be here, otherwise we wouldn't be here. One second. And I would like to send you a copy if I may, because it lists some of the things that I'm talking about that I can't word out in 1 minute.
Good, all right, good.
Yes,
Ms.
can I?
Hector, come here, please.
Yes?
Thank you very much. I'm going to give you my card. You're going to call me sometime in the next 45 days. I'm going to come down on Sunday.
I can mail it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Dow.
Okay, I'm Matthew Dowd. I already have litigation in federal United States court with Judge Dean Pregerson. We have a $300,000 attorney bill. The judge just ordered the city to pay our attorney $207,000. A jury already awarded Michael Hunt $268,000. It's almost $500,000. You want money for some of these paintings and everything? End this. You're getting deeper and deeper in a hole, and it sounds warm and fuzzy, the armbands. In real America, that doesn't work. None of this works. It's all corrupt. People buy and trade. They go, it's against the law. So is running a red light if you don't get caught, right? People just do it. You don't have the police out there to enforce any of this. I have to put you on notice. I have multiple plaintiffs, most of them performers. I'm preparing a federal complaint on this current ordinance. These are not minor tweaks. These are major violations. They sound warm and fuzzy. It's not going to work, and I'd love to just get one of your staff or somebody. I'll explain exactly how it all is happening so that you can go forward without getting into this hole.
Thank you very much. Teresa?
Yes, thank you. You didn't call me, but I do want to say something. Make that walk on a weekend, because it's Saturday or Sunday that the boardwalk is really chaotic. Personal experience to address some of the things that the city claims they're dealing with. I've had two family members side by side next to me, and they were sharing the two spaces, and one of them couldn't even speak English, which is why the other one was there. I've talked to a man who owns a store in Tucson but comes here and sells his African imports on the boardwalk because he can make more money and it's too hot in Tucson in the summer. I've had a guy doing parchment, Egyptian parchments, that he says he can't do them all himself, so he gets them from his family. They send them to him from Egypt and he sells them. There are bugs in plastic. And then one time there was this person with stacks and stacks and stacks of boxes, each one of had stamped on them made in China. And then I just want to finish with the thing about the federal judge and the court sanctioned ordinance and all that. Judge Pregerson, some have spoken to him, and he's very unhappy with what's happened to this ordinance.
Thank you very much, Teresa.
Thank you.
Stephen Elliott is gone. So this concludes this matter. They'll be forwarded to City Council. I thank you all for coming down. If you hadn't been to the top of City Hall or the Tom Bradley Tower, go up to the top. It's a beautiful view. Let's go to item number 2, please, real quick. The general manager here from El Pueblo, Robert Andrade.
Item number 2 is a motion, Huizar Labange Gruel, relative to requesting the general manager of El Pueblo to review and identify space to create a rent-a-bike facility at the heart of the city.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Councilman. How are you doing?
Good.
We are in the process of trying to identify space. I should tell you, however, that we are obligated by the California State General Plan, which dictates to El Pueblo what can and cannot be, the facilities that can and cannot be used. So we need to have an interpretation from that plan. Additionally, there has been some requests for other spaces, as well as the idea that a general plan, if you will, be prepared for the department. This was something that just came out of the Audits Committee as well. So at this point, we have nothing in writing, we have nothing formal to present to you, but we have to ensure that any proposal for a business endeavor has to meet the state's general plan.
Right, so do you think they have bicycles in state parks?
They do, but
Okay.
they may not have a bicycle business at a state park.
Well, I would tend to think differently. So here's what you do. You see Miss Adams right behind you? You know Miss Adams?
I do not.
Okay. All right, okay. Very good.
Oh, that Miss Adams.
She's the number one person in the number 2 role in recreation and parks.
Yes, she is.
They have a facility in Griffith Park that rents bicycles. See what they're doing in Griffith Park? That's a cultural monument. See if there's a possibility to do that opportunity for people to come and explore Los Angeles. Throughout the world, they have that there. So we're going to ask you to look at that. We're going to hold this to come back to September.
Okay.
We'll give you 45 days to find out information and come up with a concept. Okay?
I will do that, sir.
Thank you. No, I have no cards on it, so we're okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Do you have any cards? Does anyone want to comment on this who hasn't commented on it? All right, come on up right now. Did you put in a card, Mr. Dowd? Okay, thank you. Please pronounce your first name.
Sure. I'm Dorothy Leff from the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hi. I wanted to say that I support the rent-a-bike concept at El Pueblo. As you know, bikes are an important way to get around and also to have fun, especially for tourists. But I want to emphasize to everyone that it is important that a sustainable business model for this is created. Rent-a-bike concepts are around the world and everywhere, and they have a history of being problematic for cities. And we just need to be careful how we implement them and create a business model that has ongoing maintenance, that the fleet of bicycles are replaced periodically, so that people can use this this service in a way that works. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Dowd.
Yes, thank you. I'm against it. And she really said it as well. It doesn't work. And here's why. It's downtown Los Angeles, big buses, construction, all kind of traffic. It's not safe, and you're going to wind up with more liabilities. You've got item 4 on the agenda, trying to avoid the city getting into financial liabilities. This is crazy. Keep them in Griffith Park, keep them down at Venice Beach, keep them along the river. This is downtown Los Angeles, and Matt Dowd has to get up and say, I don't think you should have children riding around on rental bikes, looking at downtown Los Angeles and Skid Row, and really, get him in a bus, get him whatever, but I'm against it, and I'm standing up today to say so.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, we do have a extra commissioner to be appointed.
Yes, item number 9.
Cervantes. Okay. Mr. Cervantes here. How are you? Good. We're going to take the special meeting, so call it.
Yes. Item number 9 on the special agenda is the mayor's communication regarding the reappointment of Angel Cervantes to the El Pueblo Historical Monument Authority.
How are you?
Good afternoon. Hello. Very well.
Where'd you grow up?
San Fernando, City San Fernando.
What high school?
Somar High School.
Somar. All right, good. That's good. You ready for this role?
What's that?
You ready for this role?
Yes. I've actually been. This is my 4th year serving as a commissioner for El Pueblo, and
right.
I'm honored to be asked to come back.
And you're ready about the audits and all the challenges that you got?
Yeah. Well, you know. My job is I'm a teacher. I teach 5th grade elementary school, and I teach history at Glendale Community College. And when I first came on the commission, I was not prepared for all the challenges that El Pueblo, because I approach it as a historian. I'm going to, bring history, and I've had to take a quick lesson in economics and business while as a commissioner there at El Pueblo.
This is good. And the commissioner has good attendance?
Robert Andrade, General Manager. The Commissioner has excellent attendance.
Excellent attendance, good job, and you're a great teacher. Let's recommend this gentleman right here. Ms. Hahn, any questions?
No, that's good.
Mr. Cervantes, thank you very much. Thank you for your service. Give him a big hand there.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, now, item number 3, please.
And item number 3 is a report from the City Administrative Officer relative to an agreement with Michael Leslie Productions doing business as Ready Golf Centers for the operation and maintenance of electric golf carts.
Could I hear from city staff at this time?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Councilmember Hahn.
Hi.
Veronica Salumbidas with the Office of the CAO. The proposed concession agreement is between the Department of Recreation and Parks and Michael Leslie Productions. The term of the proposed agreement is 10 years with one 5-year renewal option. The concession agreement includes the operation and maintenance of electric golf carts at the city's 7 18-hole golf courses located at Sepulveda Golf Complex, Griffith Park, Hanson Dam Golf Course, Rancho Park Golf Course, and Woodley Lakes Golf Course. To select a contractor, the department issued a request for proposal in April of 2007. As indicated in the request for proposal, 6 criteria will be used to select the best proposer. 1, ability to finance, operate, and sustain the concession. 2, qualifications and experience. 3, proposed carts and the maintenance and replacement plan. 4, vision for concession, including business and marketing plans. 5, financial return to the city in the form of rental payments. And finally, capital improvements. The department received 5 responses to the RFP. 3 of the 5 responses were deemed responsive after a first-level review by department staff. A second-level review was conducted by a consultant hired by the department, Economics Research Associates, and the consultant found all 3 responsive proposers to be financially able to provide startup costs, operational costs, as well as financing for the capital improvements. The department then convened a 5-member independent panel. The names of the 5 members are listed in the CAO report, page 2. The panel interviewed the 3 responsive proposers. They also ranked the proposals in accordance with the 6 categories I just enumerated. And the concessionaire was ranked highest and was recommended for award of the concession. Under the terms of the proposed agreement, the concessionaire will pay the city 39% of gross receipts from the operation of the electric golf cart concession. The concessionaire also committed to invest $100,000 for capital improvements. The
one that we're recommending has golf experience?
Pardon me?
Michael Leslie Productions has golf experience?
I believe so.
Well, you believe so, I want to know so.
Yeah, really.
And Michael Leslie Productions sounds like an afternoon game show that you'd see. This is Michael Leslie Productions.
Yeah.
Rob Morales, Recreation and Parks. Yes, Michael Leslie Productions, doing business as Ready Golf Centers, has been the golf professional at Sepulveda Golf Course for the past approximately 8 years, running the range, the pro shop, and lesson services.
Good.
Good.
To continue, 90% of the revenues from the proposed agreement will be deposited into the Department of Recreation and Parks operating budget. 10% will be deposited into the golf concessions improvements accounts. There is no additional impact on the general fund, and the CAO recommends approval.
Great. Regina, you have anything you want to add?
Regina Adams, Executive Officer, Recreation and Parks. I just wanted to add that, of course, for us to do this process, the current concessionaire has been on a month-to-month contract with us since the last contract expired, which was in 2003. And so we are trying to move this forward.
Right.
Also for our department, as you know, we were recently audited by the Controller's Office as far as having us move forward with trying to get our concessions up to date. And so this is one of those to try to get us to that point.
Very good. Anything else to add? We do have some cards, about 1 minute.
A couple questions, too.
Excuse me, a couple questions?
Yeah.
Oh, Ms. Hahn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was interested in the panel that judged them. They were nobody from LA. That's standard?
Yeah.
We never have anybody from the city on the panel that reviews them.
One of the reasons that we were trying to make sure that this was an impartial panel, because we did not want to have anyone come and state that we were, slanting it in any direction. So there was someone from the County of Los Angeles on the panel, but that's the reason how this panel was put together.
And just on the scoring, was 1 the best, or was 3 the best?
Was 1 the best?
On the scoring.
Was it 1?
On the ranking, 1 was the best, and it had related scores going to it, then 2 second, 3 third.
Okay, so 3 wasn't the highest, 1 was the highest. Okay, interesting. And just even on the ability to finance, I'm just curious, because I've never really looked at these before, but if they all were deemed capable of financing, I mean, they wouldn't have even passed the first. Why was that necessarily a ranking?
Rob Morales, Recreation and Parks. It was the manner in which they financed, and the panel took a look at 1, cash capability, whether to come up with a cash outlay quickly, or 2, the financing, which they'd have to go out and get loans. And as you know, in this economic crisis, that's not as easy as it was a couple of years ago. And Michael Leslie Productions does have sufficient cash on hand and sufficient cash flow from other operations in order to start up quickly on this.
Mark, did you have something to say?
I think so, the city attorney.
Let me try that. The RFP stated that although we wanted to be certain in order to be responsive to the proposal,
Right.
that everybody had met certain minimum qualifications, the RFP stated that it was necessary as part of the process to rank first, second, and third, and that points would be apportioned based on that ranking. So you might have all 3 proposers who are capable, but they might not be equally capable or the same. And even if they were, there was an instruction to the evaluators that they were to choose who was the best, and who was the second best, and who was the third best in order to allocate the scoring.
Okay.
So that was a requirement of the RFP.
Okay. And so one other question, just kind of looking at the previous one, it looked like we got more money back to us from the previous contractor. Was there a reason for that than we do with this one?
Well,
Money back to the city.
Well, previously, the concessionaire was paying a higher percentage,
Right,
approximately 47%.
right,
This one's going to be paying 39%.
Right.
We believe with new carts and new
Right.
capital improvements out there, that the revenue will increase,
Okay.
and therefore the rent will increase.
okay, good.
The
Is there,
current, just to add to that answer, the current concessionaire was one of the proposers and did not propose as high a percentage as they're currently paying.
oh, okay, so we wouldn't have gotten it anyway, okay. I know this is a 10-year contract?
Yes, 10 years.
With
one-time
an option for, do we get an evaluation before 10 years? Can we get, I think it would be interesting, because I think a lot of us are looking at our golf courses as a real source of revenue. I mean, it doesn't really, it's one of our great treasures in the city of Los Angeles, and you kind of look at some of the other golf courses out there, and they're making a lot of money. And I don't know why we don't make the kind of money that I think we should be making. I don't know if it was the condition of our golf courts. I did hear a lot of complaints, frankly, about our golf carts before, so maintenance and, but we really should be making money on our golf courses. So, like I said, that we're hoping that with new golf carts, with some of the capital improvements that we're making, we're going to get more revenue. Is there a way we can, maybe before 10 years, we can maybe get a report back into this?
Well, I think we should look at it, maybe have an annual report for the golf manager. Mr. Ward?
Right, I think we should be making money.
An annual
I think we
report.
should be making money.
As part of also, too, for the controller recommendations, it's definitely something that we will be doing.
Right. And by the way, aren't we looking at tweaking the water ordinance to make sure that
We certainly are. They
that we
did
can
something in committee, we did something in
maintain
council
our
today, get
green-
more water.
Yeah, so we believe in that because we think you're one of the revenue generators in the city, so we don't want to,
But at the same time, we don't want to put it on the backs of those. At the same time, we want to make sure it's fair and equal and that they help out in their total recreation needs. May I call for public comment now?
please, go ahead.
Okay, those who are against the proposal, James Johnson and Ted Winship, that's correct? Yes. want to speak to us? Hello.
Good afternoon, council members. James Johnson, SEIU Local 721. I feel at a slight disadvantage. The person who's worked on this issue from our staff for almost 7 years, Jason Elias, was unable to be at today's meeting. Nevertheless, Local 721 is obviously opposed to proposal. The history of this issue is well documented, going back to 1983 when contract first was led and profit was made in that first year. To this point, we've worked with the steering committee of golfers, many of whom are here today who will speak for themselves. The long and short of it is that it appears to us that particularly in this economic climate that's not going to change anytime real soon, we need to find opportunities to contract in. It's in our contracts. It's city policy. We believe that this is an issue that we need to look at very, very carefully. I know that the department has done tremendous work on this, and we appreciate that, but we still remain opposed and look forward to the opportunity, if this goes to council, to articulate further our opposition. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right, and frankly, I meant to ask that as part of my questions. Maybe we could have staff come back out and address this issue of why we felt that it was better to contract out than to contract in, because I agree with you. If we have an opportunity, we should try to give it to our own city employees. So I'd like to hear the rationale on the record of why.
Could we continue with the public comment, then we'll get back to that. We'll ask that question.
Please, thank you very much.
Ted?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, we do need carts. There's no question. It's a shame that the city has been put in this position. The RFP crew have been working overtime. I had a call from Mr. Morales on a Sunday afternoon when he was in the office working on this RFP. I believe that the city should operate these things because we have such a thing that's called the cap rate. The cap rate amounts to $500,000 a year, and it is charged against the city's operation. These funds go to the city. They don't go to Timbuktu. They go to the city, and yet they're showed as a charge against the project. If that was removed, there'd be approximately $475,000 a year to be added to the profit to the city, and this doesn't make any sense to me. Secondly, the city has been operating and paying 40% down at Harbor Park, a brilliant young lady down there, by the way, Penny Brielson. Anyway, excuse me for messing up her name. But they've been paying 40%. The city operates the carts. Kishi operates the carts. The winner. Thank you.
Okay, Laurie Oberg, general comment?
Do you play down there? You play down at Harbor Park?
Excuse me?
You play down there at the...
I have not played down
Laurie.
there. I've been down there to
Forgive me,
visit her.
Laurie.
She's wonderful.
I didn't have
You
my
should
glasses on.
Look.
Started to take lessons there one time.
Hi, Laurie.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Laurie Oberg. I'm an original of the Golf Advisory Committee, one of the founders of that.
With Marty Trigan?
Yes, that's
God
how I
rest his
got
soul.
started in all this. Anyway, I do care a lot about this city, and I do care a lot about the golf courses. I do play as much as possible, and often on the city courses. I'm a member at Sepulveda for many years. I really think that this is an opportunity for the city to run these carts. They are able to do this. This isn't a concession where you have to be running a restaurant or something. This is something that the city employees can do. They are proving it at doing it at Harbor, and I think it's an opportunity that shouldn't be missed. The money that's needed, I think, first of all, they could tie together green fees and golf carts, which a lot of the other golf operators do, and bring in a lot more business, get better revenue. I think it's a great opportunity we shouldn't miss. We're going to miss it for 10 years. This is our one opportunity to give it a try.
Thank you, Laurie. For the proposal, we have Michael Burbach, is that correct? Craig Kessler and Jean Varno.
Yeah.
Go from left to right.
Oops, I broke it. Hi, I'm Gene Vano. I'm Vice President of Sepulveda Men's Club. I'm also Vice Chairman of the Mayor's Golf Advisory Committee. The question was raised that this RFP has been out since 2007. We've been without a golf cart contract since 2003. The golf carts that currently exist are 10 years old. They are incredibly dangerous. The risk manager should look at what the golf carts could do to sports injuries. We need to get this done. If you reject this today, that means another RFP, another 2 or 3 years before we come to bat again. It's unconscionable. This is silly. It's just going on for way too long. Should have been done a long time ago, and I please ask you to let's get this done now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Come to bat for golf? It's going to be another phrase. Come to bat.
Craig.
Craig Kessler, Executive Director of Public Links Golf Association, Southern California. I'm here today to encourage you to send this forward to the full City Council with a positive recommendation. I think if you take a look at that enormous packet out in the lobby, and I'm sure you have it in your possession, the process that was used to distinguish among the private operators was impeccable. You really can't impeach that, and the consequences, the precedent that would be set if this council were to reject that would be very damaging to the Recreation and Parks Department and its capacity to garner revenue from its golf concessions. To the issue of self-operation, it has some resonance. It had resonance with me once upon a time, but with the city $500 million in debt, a hard hiring freeze, the department's still no longer getting any money out of the budget appropriations process from this council, $30 million still in deficit next year. The prospect is simply an impossibility. The prospect of being able to hire 42 persons, get that authority independently, way too cumbersome. As my friend here on the left said, the residents and the golfers of the city of Los Angeles deserve, after 6.5 years of substandard service, to receive the standard service. Again, we would encourage you to send this forward with a unanimous positive recommendation to the full council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Members Labange and Hahn. Michael Bernbach from Michael Leslie Productions, DBA Ready Golf.
Okay.
So we can clarify that. I want to thank you very much for hearing us today. And this has been a long process. It started actually 6 years ago. 2 RFPs were thrown out because the union wanted to try and get their second, third, fourth bite at the apples. And I'm just very happy that we're here, and I hope that we go forward. I can't wait to bring new golf carts every 3 years, as the contract says, to renew the golf carts new every 3 years in my RFP, and to give quality service to the public, as I have been doing at the Sepulveda Golf Complex. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay.
Is there any technology for solar golf carts?
I haven't seen anything really on that yet.
Not developed yet?
Not yet.
But we're on electric, realize. It's
I
not,
know.
which is better than gas.
Yes.
The electric has to be carefully monitored.
Right.
The batteries have to be handled a certain way, but it's
Right.
better than gas.
Right. But nothing.
There is gas too, ma'am.
Right.
But
nothing on the horizon for solar powered?
I haven't seen it, but
Interesting.
not a bad
Okay.
idea.
Yes.
Before I leave, could I get a copy of that motion that went through today on the DWP?
Water,
amendments?
Ms.
amendments?
Schechter, make it happen.
Yes.
The motion on the water.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Right.
Ms. Hahn, you had a question. Ms. Adams, you want to come forward, or Mr.
Yeah,
Brown?
I meant to ask her the first time around, could you respond to this idea of why we...
City operated.
Why we decided to contract out? Because the charter is very specific about when and how and why we contract out. I want to know if the case was made and why.
When we went through this process, we did, had our golf division submit also a proposal. Well, that's not the correct word.
It's 7-1.
In this environment, it's not at this time.
Yeah.
We feel that it would be a greater risk for us to try to take this on in-house. For this contract, we are guaranteed to get 39% every year, for the term of this contract. Right now, with the environment for the city, as Mr. Kessler just mentioned, currently right now with the hiring freeze, with employees retiring, with the uncertainty of the future, and also for the budget for the Department of Recreation and Parks and so forth, and for the city, we feel that this is not the time for us to try to take this on in-house. So that is why we feel that it's best to just continue.
And it's been before your commission twice?
Beg your pardon?
This issue's been before your commission twice?
Yes, this is not the first time.
Were they allowed to bid, weren't they allowed to bid on it? Was our city department allowed to bid on this one?
They submitted a sealed plan at the same time as the RFPs came in, and the plan was compared to the
So they weren't an actual
proposals.
bidder on this?
They're not a bidder, but they did submit an in-house plan.
And so we looked at the plan, and it was not feasible, or?
No, that's
expensive?
That's why we went with this, and the recommendation from this panel.
Very good.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Hahn, the department recommends it, the CAO recommends it.
Yes.
City attorney approved it. I recommend approval of this. Need a motion?
Yes.
All right, I second it. Move forward to council.
Well, I do want to give a shout out to our previous contractor, and really, there's a lot of things that were said, about golf carts, but to have a month-to-month contract since 2003, really says a lot about them. The fact that they were so willing to do it. There was no way they were going to invest the amount of money it would take to upgrade their carts with not having any assurance. So, and I will say, I enjoyed seeing that company for all those years. It was a woman-owned company. I just wanted to give them a shout-out to say we appreciated their work with the city all these years, and it's very burdensome to put somebody on a month-to-month contract. You can't really expect a lot of a contractor for that.
Unfortunately, that's a challenge the Recreation Park has. They're trying to get, how many contracts are month-to-month now?
Not all.
No, we're going through the process right now of executing.
Not a good deal for anybody. Month-to-month are not a good
Approximately
deal.
20 out of 54.
20 out of 54?
Correct.
Right, so something like that, which should be very few. This
We
is
look-
moving
we look
forward to
forward-
council. You can say that in council. That completes the agenda except for one public comment. Matthew Dowd.
It's not right.
Huh? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I know, but they couldn't do it now.
Yeah, you know how we do it. Got to hit everything. But look, I want to talk about the orderly process of the meeting, first of all, with these speaker cards. See, it's not the 70s, it's not the 80s anymore. It's not necessary. All that information on the speaker card is voluntary. I want to get that out in the open. It's not required. So we just forget about that. Just call the name. We had it with the city attorney. Just call the name.
I asked for it. I'm the committee chair, so.
Right,
you can
and I
do
want
that.
to clarify it by United States law, it's not required. By California state law, it's not
I
required.
know, but it's required by me,
So
and if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
I'm trying to, this is not even a question. This is my comment. See, I want you to get an attorney to explain maybe, it's like the guy wearing the mask in this council chamber. He's wearing it because of Mark Brown, because of your Venice Beach thing, and you settled with the white people on that lawsuit, but he's black, he's African American, he believes you're discriminating, and I want to explain that's why he's wearing the hood.
Thank you very much.
That's how I believe.
Okay, this meeting is now adjourned. Everybody have a good afternoon.